Hi everyone and welcome back to the Couch Buddies, and tonight we are going beyond the sand.
And we are also going driving madly through the streets of Chicago. Stick around, we'll be right back.
We are back for yet another Couchisode with old and moldy games, but before we start, DJ, we had the Game Awards on Friday, and there was some great stuff there announced.
So I've
really was, yeah, but there was one particular game, I don't hear much fuss about it, but it was the one that really hit me, and I actually predicted something like that would come out. Well, not predict, but I was like hoping something like that would be announced, and it was, and we got an announcement for a new Dune game called Dune Spice Wars.
The
I
excitement.
think it's Spice Wars. I don't even remember the name of the game. I know it's insane. I just started seeing the trailer and I was like, don't tell me there is a new Dune game. And then they said it's a 4x RTS game and it's developed by Shiro Games. Shiro Games have the guys beyond the game I just keep talking about called Northgard. You know, I'm just anxious for this.
I see the enthusiasm.
Yeah,
I
just
share
want this to come out.
I don't share it.
Oh.
I don't have any particular thing against Dune. I just don't.
It's an RTS game. I hope
it.
it's on
Not
the
a
line with the
series.
typical RTS games, and it's a Dune game. It's
Not
cool.
a series that has captivated me for a long time.
you suck.
Like some of the old games, but go ahead, talk about it. I mean, just release your demons. That's what
Okay, I will release another demon,
And tell me what you see.
I see the 6 stations of the Lord's order, and they will all burn.
and I'm going to talk about another Dune game. I will make this the third one in a row.
All right, so see you guys.
Okay, I traumatized DJ, so we'll have this for our own.
That's
no?
fine. I'll try to keep
Okay.
myself awake while you go through this. Okay.
I won't talk that much then. The game I'm going to talk
Good.
about is the game from 2001 called Dune.
Let's do this.
5 more minutes.
Come on, Randy. Wakey, hands up. Randy, there's a snake. Randy, get up, there's a snake.
Or Emperor Battle for Dune.
Oh my God, the excitement! Yes, that
Yeah.
was no. I don't even know.
You suck. You suck. No, this game.
But I suck.
Well, this game was a continuation of Dune 2 or Dune 2000. They were basically the same game. And it had a new story because you didn't have the Emperor anymore. You had the Merchants Guild. And they basically were challenging the three houses for an assassination game, where the winner would just be the new Emperor. But during the game, you would just understand and come to the realization that the Merchants Guild actually had a completely different goal, and you would go noticing that along the game. What was interesting here is that the game had these little differences between the houses. They really differentiated them a lot more than in previous games, you know, because the house Atreides, for instance, had these sonic tanks, like in the first games, and they had mechs that the others didn't. The Harkonnen had tanks and relied a lot on flame weapons. It was really cool. And I remember the Ordos ones could self-heal, which was really cool. And, you know, the game had these small nuances that evolved a bit from the original game, but the RTS formula was basically the same. It sticks to what Command & Conquer usually was. It went 3D, which the previous games didn't, and you had this peculiar thing that could actually lead to you having to play the same maps more than once, because you had the Conquer map, the overview map, and you would select where you would conquer, and the other houses would do that too, and then you would have to battle, and you could actually retreat from a battle if it was not going well, lose the territory and take it back later. it was really cool. And you had missions that were outside of Dune, story missions that were actually a breath of fresh air in the middle of the game, so you could just get out of the desert, do something different for a while, and then just come back. And you know, this game was actually pretty cool. And you should try this because it has this little small twist on the RTS genre and what they usually did back then. And it's so cool. You should try it out. But remember, the in-game is still the same. You build a base, you build units, you attack. They didn't evolve all that much on the formula, but that's what I love about this game. Just don't overcomplicate it, just make this game fun. And just give it a try if you haven't yet. It's such a cool game.
Yeah, I'm still stuck in the 90s with strategy games, man, RTS games. I'm still stuck with Command and Conquer, you know, and stuff like that.
Those were cool.
You're talking about, I don't know, flame throwing units, and I always remember in Command and Conquer when we had the flame throwing units, and they were really good at killing infantry units, but anyone else that could, you know, blow them up, they will actually blow the guy next to you because they
would set everyone on fire.
Exactly. So they're really nice to take into, you know, separate, like apart squads, but not really good as all together because it was just
just tell them go apart from us, and they'd be, why?
Exactly.
You
a
smell
pile of gasoline on top of each other.
Yeah.
Don't know the game. Never played it. Not a huge fan of the RTS genre, although I played some of the classics, as I said before, but not really into it. But I guess that if you're happy, I'm happy, and that's how it should be. I hope you have a great game wherever they launch it, whenever they launch it, because now we already know that it's kind of difficult with the
this was the last RTS Dune game. And I actually think this was the last Dune game. There was a Frank Herbert's Dune for the PlayStation 2, I think, but I don't remember the year because that game was just so bad.
I can't imagine an RTS game on a console. I mean, without a mouse and a keyboard.
They had quite a.
I know they did. I know they did, but I can't imagine it myself because, as far as I recall, most of the attempts were really. I mean, for as good as they were in terms of control mechanics and stuff like that,
it doesn't work.
It's still a controller doing the job of a mouse. You know, I don't really see it. Again, I think that the RTS genre is very, very tied to the PC, and obviously it is because it's where you actually had it for the first time, and that's where you actually, you know, have it for the best playable experience.
They still try to make FPS games massively on consoles, and they cannot replace the controller with the mouse. They can't.
But they have this, like, you know, stuff for handicapped people. Like they have aim assist, you know, like for example in controllers. That's why there is no cross-play between those guys and the, you know, the real hardcore people of the PC players playing FPS.
Yeah, because they would think they are cheaters.
It's
so much better.
It's a discussion that it's opening a can of worms that we don't want to open.
No, let's just leave it here.
Will there be just complaining about, I'm a console player and you're trashing me. Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
Pure and simple.
Exactly. So, moving on to the next game, and I'm going to talk about a really good one. It just came to my mind this weekend when I was looking at some old... I went to the Internet Archive and I was looking at old Microsoft games catalog. And then all of a sudden I started thinking about the Sidewinder joystick that I had, and then I recalled that I saw this game on a pamphlet and I had to have it, and I did eventually. We're going to be talking about Midtown Madness from 1999, developed for Windows, and this was developed by Angel Studios and published by Microsoft. Now, Midtown Madness is an open world driving game that, instead of following the premise of, you know, racing games at the time, that had a limited set of tracks and you had to win them to get more cars, unlock even more tracks and so on. It gave us a playstyle that, in my opinion, would be game genre defining for the years to come. In this lovely rendition of the Chicago city, we would select from a limited pool of vehicles at the start and simply drive off and enjoy block-to-block replica of this unique US city. From the Volkswagen New Beetle, which was new at the time, so this was around the year 2000, to the Cadillac Eldorado, which I have no idea which car it is because I'm not from the US, we could race around the city in several modes such as Blitz, Checkpoint, and Circuit races in order to unlock content such as new cars and paint jobs and so on and so forth. If you're not into, you know, stressful races, then you can just go to single player and free mode, and you can cruise around the city and just enjoy the landmarks of Chicago City. So you don't really have to do much, you just drive around, and this was exactly what I used to do. But we'll go there in a minute. Additionally, there was also an online multiplayer that, besides the race modes that I just mentioned earlier, they also had this game mode called Cops and Robbers, where you can choose either to be, on one side or either the other. You can be the bad guys or you can be catching them. It was really fun. I never actually tried this one online, although it supported like the usual stuff back then, MSN Gaming Zone, a TCP/IP connection. Back when you could actually go into online on Microsoft games through the MSN Gaming Zone. Back when MSN was a thing, at least the Messenger, if you remember. And although it was not a game that I would pick often, it kind of became like a go-to for relaxation. And not to be tempted with, beating a score, passing a mission. It was just, free roll and enjoy whatever your graphics cards could do in terms of rendering that scenario. The graphics, if you look at them today, obviously are nothing, out of the ordinary. But back then, believe me, that was something really, really demanding to produce. Now, playing it today, as I said, probably I wouldn't say that it's a game that aged very well. I would say that it was one of those that probably suffers a little bit. The racing genre, has evolved so much, to a level that even games like Need for Speed can have a story and still feel compelling to play. I mean, this can vary obviously wildly on the opinions that people might have, but I do enjoy the fact that in racing games, you just don't have a racing mode that you just go into the car, race, and that's it. I do like the introduction of a story. And Midtown Madness did not have that. And somehow I think this was one of the triggers that, led game developers to be a little bit more careful on the whole backstory on this specific gaming genre.
The context is nice.
The context was good, but also obviously the biggest, sell point of this game was the open world. Now, as I said, it's something that was not being attempted before in this way, obviously in the 3D world. I don't know if you remember, but a few on the Portuguese episodes, we talked about a game called Vete from 1989.
Yeah.
And that game was actually already an open world, although, not with 3D graphics and so on and so forth. But it did include mostly replicas of cities, or at least parts of replicas of cities, including some legendary streets of some of them. But then on the 3D world, I think that this was the biggest example that we have of a successful, partially, let's say, driving game or driving simulator in an open world. And I think that this was exactly what then inspired games like, Test Drive Online. I think was that the name? Test Drive. I can't remember the name of the
possibly.
film. Yeah. So basically, and this was the formula that actually worked out after that. It's still a great game. The soundtrack was really funky. I remember the opening track was really, really funky. And then there was this narrator during the whole, game that would chime in and pop in sometimes and talk about, what you're visiting or what you're going through in terms of, landmarks and stuff like that. It was really fun, and I think it was kind of like, maybe Microsoft using that leverage they had with Flight Simulator and just putting something in the table that would resemble a simulation of something. Although, Gran Turismo already had done this way better. But again, the difference with Gran Turismo is that it's not an open world. And so it was essentially a different game. But in terms of people that were looking for that simulation experience, obviously this could not beat it. Because even the car physics that they had there were quite shady at some points, and they were not that good. But still, it's a good one to remember. I think it's one of the those first iconic Microsoft games that came in the early 2000s, in the late 90s and the early 2000s that really started defining some of the things that we see still today on the genre of racing games. And that's all for this one. I mean, this is pretty much what I recalled and had fun this weekend.
If I'm not confusing, I don't know if it was the first, came with my Sidewinder's force feedback steering wheel. I still have it somewhere.
Probably 2 or 3. I believe Midtown Madness 3 was an Xbox exclusive. I can't really remember that. I did play Midtown Madness 2 a lot. I mean, so. The second game was a little bit more elaborate, and I think it was, way better than the first one was. And the Midtown Madness series actually got a little bit better. Another one that I played also a lot, and I'll have to talk about it in a later episode, is Motocross Madness from Microsoft, and that was a really, really good one. Yeah, but you know,
that one.
Yeah, because you're not into the driving or sports driving genre, and yeah,
really,
Motocross
no.
Madness was really good. We'll bring it on another episode. So, what's gonna be your next game for today?
Okay, so this one is a big one, and I bet you played this one.
Kind of like me.
This is a really, really good game, an awesome game, that if you haven't played it, you should play it, everyone should play it, and please give us a sequel sooner than later, okay? You've been promising it, and the game I'm going to talk about is Beyond Good and Evil from 2003. An amazing game.
Please give us a sequel. You need to put a lot of please on that, because we've been waiting for I don't know.
Yeah,
like
they did
6
announce
years,
it back in
7 years?
2017.
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
I think
yeah,
it was
right.
last year they gave us a new trailer, and still nothing.
It's Ubisoft.
Nothing.
What
Yeah,
did
it's
you expect?
Ubisoft. Don't expect much. Well, this game was actually remastered in 2011, and you can grab it easily. And just play this one. This game has everything about this game is pretty cool, and the story is just awesome. You know, you play this young girl called Jade, and she has been taken care of by Peach, that is this boar-like animal as a person, and they live in a lighthouse with these orphaned kids, and they are orphaned and they're taking care of them because there is this alien race that keeps just abducting people called the Doms. And then there is the force that was supposed to protect everyone, that's called the Alpha Section, and they're not doing quite a great job, but you will understand why as the game progresses. You know, I do remember the game starting in the lighthouse, and you have this warning of the aliens coming, and you go to turn on the shield so they can't attack the lighthouse, and the shield doesn't go up because it says you have lack of funds for the electrical bill. And then you just have to fight them, and at some point you have your assistant, I think it was actually a virtual assistant called Secundo, and it doesn't call your main character Jade, it calls her Jade. He has this accent, like Spanish accent. It's really cool. And a quick thing that you need to know, the voice from Jade is actually from Jodie Foster in the whole game. It's so cool and it's so well done.
Didn't remember that.
Yeah, but there are so many details in this game. And after that starting sequence, some of the kids are taken away by the aliens, and you get into a sequence that will just tell you that they're trying to recruit you to get evidence against the Alpha Section, and because they say they are in league with the Doms. And this is the setting for everything, and you will very early on find out that Peach, the guy that has been taking care of you, is actually the leader of a resistance group called Iris. I think they were called Iris. And they're trying to fix everything. So you should just enjoy this game. It's pretty cool. It has a huge world to explore. It has a lot of mini games. You will use an overcraft. You fight with your melee weapon. It's like a big stick. And you have this throwing discs, and you have the camera. The camera is pretty cool because you have missions to get money where you need to take photos of the wildlife on the planet, and you get money in the game. And you also use the camera for other things that I won't tell you because you really have to play the game. And it's really cool, and the mini games are also really cool. I was telling you about this hovercraft, and you will actually race with this hovercraft in the game.
This day and age, if you talk about using your camera for something else, you know, immediately people think about, you know, dirty stuff, you know. So
yeah, no,
yeah,
not
it's not that.
Not that. This is a good game, a really good game, and if you haven't played this, you owe it to yourself to play this one. I believe you can get it in every single console and on the PC. So just get this one and just enjoy it. The only negative aspect of this game would be the gameplay while fighting. It's not the best, but you get used to it. But the rest of it is just an amazing game.
I'm sure it beats a lot of the fighting mechanics of some other games that I know. But again, I did love the cartoonish style graphical design that they had on this one. And if you look at it, it kind of looks like inspired on It kind of looks like the actual cartoons that we see now on Cartoon Network, you know, Ben 10 and stuff like that. I don't know.
Around that,
Kind of, they look very much inspired on this type of, you know, graphical designs and I guess the game itself also mixes some of this action adventure, you know, style of playing. And that's the HD version is really pretty. I think that the upscale on the resolution really made a difference because in terms of playability and everything like that, the game is still very much.
It didn't ruin the game. It's you can just enjoy it.
Exactly, nothing
enjoy
like
it.
like what we talked about the previous game that I was talking about. I mean, it didn't really age or get clunky or anything like that. It really does feel good in playing this game again.
Yeah.
Good suggestion. And I think that before we wrap up today, we have our air freshener moment coming right up.
Yeah.
And
it's still not dry, so let's.
Oh God, just buy another one, please. I keep saying this every week.
It's just here as a decor.
It doesn't matter. Buy a new one. I don't care. Decor with something else. Moving out. So I got to talk about this little piece of hardware that I just recently acquired. So this is a Quest 2
so you got
from
to
Oculus. Yeah, I heard your conversations with Quake on the previous episode about that he was saying that he's going to have to get one.
Shut up and take my money.
And Santa Claus is going to have to bring him one. So I went ahead. I went to the Oculus website. I ordered one. And, well, it came to the point that, so what am I going to play right now? So I had no idea because I had so many things in my mind to try. Some really funny games. I've been seeing a lot of, you know, YouTubers and videos about VR. But I actually never, you know, went deep dive on this technology for the sake of the fact that I know how I am. And if I really like someone, I'm going to immediately buy it. And sometimes, you know, it's not the best time to buy stuff. But again, I did it.
But that headset is worth every penny.
It is. And I'm going to talk about a game for it that, you know, for me, it's probably until now in my short 3 weeks of VR experience that I have. It has been amazing and I'm really loving it. So I'm going to talk about Echo Arena VR, and this was released in October 2021, so just very recently. Cool. And this was developed by Echo at Dawn and published by Oculus Studios. So this is actually a game that is based on a multiplayer mode of another game called Lone Echo. I mean, I'm not sure if you heard about it. This is actually one of the best you know, VR games of 2017 when it came out, and it's really good. It's an action adventure game in space with this team. But there was a multiplayer mode there called Echo Arena, and basically what this is a 4v4 0G disc throwing and friend punching game, which is basically how I can describe you. You're probably going to be seeing right now on the screen how this looks like, and this might look to you that it's really boring or something like that, but this is the biggest fun I've had, especially during this weekend, between playing Midtown Madness for like 1 or 2 hours and then spending the rest of the weekend playing this game. It was amazing. I mean, I configured it for the voice chat to be open. You're constantly talking with your teammates all the time. And that's just it. You grab the disc, you have to run to the other side of the arena and score a goal with the disc. You have to throw the disc inside of a small square. And obviously by doing that, you have to go, you know, across the other team members or the opposing team members. They can stun you if they hit your head. They can just close their fists with the controllers and hit your head. But if you actually raise both of your fists in front of your face, you can actually block that, and they get stunned instead. Instead of you getting stunned when they hit you, they get stunned instead. And then you just, you know, use your arms to direct your flight because you have some jets on your wrists. So basically this is like doing Superman, but with the disc on your hand in 0G gravity, and the objective is to go through all these obstacles and the opposing team and score the goals. It's just this. The concept is quite simple, and you would say, but how can you get hours of fun out of this? Well, quite honestly, it's because so many stupid situations happen during these games, like really funny ones. Like you can literally, like that. Let's say that you're boosting or you're using your boosters to travel on the 0G environment, and if you catch one of the opponent's teams, you can actually grab his leg and climb through his torso and then hit him in the head, and then he stops. He gets stunned, so he stops traveling, and you just grab the disc from his hand and you continue. And you can also, for example, grab your colleagues by the feet, and they can pull you while they are doing that. While they are being dragged by their own propulsors, they can drag you. I mean, I have to tell you that I have been surprised by the technology that's inside of one of these things. I knew about it. I've seen multiple videos about VR. I knew about some of the best games that there were out there.
You just have to experience it.
But the thing is exactly that. You have to experience it. I mean, to the ridiculous point that yesterday I have sat down on my couch and I spent 2 hours just basically fishing. Just fishing.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It's a fishing game. You drop the bob, you wait for it to come, then you pull it up, then you start reeling it in, and it's what I'm telling you guys. I mean, the price that this costs, and this is running around right now for 345 euros, 349. That's the price. 349 euros for the 128 gig version and 449 for the 256 gig version on the website of Oculus. Of course, I mean, there might be other providers that can get it cheaper. I heard Amazon sometimes does some sales on this, so you might get it at a cheaper price. But again, I think that it's worth the money really, really well. There's a lot of funny games that you can use, that you can play, and they are, addictive as hell on this little thing. And I'm really happy to have it, have bought it. And
the really good thing about that headset, and people usually don't realize it, is that you can use it as standalone. It works on its own. You can play just games with it, and you don't need any support machine. But you can actually connect it with the cable or wirelessly to the computer and just play the library of VR games you have. So it's a two-in-one.
That's one of the things we already covered on the VR episode we talked about. And I think that, you guys shoot us a comment in the questions if you want to know how this is. I think that it's great if you want to know about any specific experiences that we had on the VR headset for that. I think that obviously being a mostly retro gaming channel, we always want to keep bringing this new content about some new things that are right around. This is not new at all. I mean, the VR concept, not even Oculus Quest 2, there's always a predecessor. There's already a predecessor, which was the Oculus Quest 1. And this game is actually, despite recent, is based off another game. But the point is, it's actually good to have its own hands-on experience for a longer period of time and see how it is. And this thing has really, changed my perspective in terms of gaming. And I think that in the next few Couchisodes, I'll be talking a little bit more about this because it's very good. And I think
the immersion is awesome.
The immersion is completely awesome. So what is also completely awesome, guys, is you leaving a like in our videos. We really do appreciate that, to keep us bringing the content, and also to help us so that the YouTube gods keep putting us on the algorithm that's how we love. So as we always say, guys, leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you didn't like, subscribe our channel, and as we always say, we see each other next week, and game on, guys.
Game on, everyone. See you next week.